Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ. Soccer sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. It's Thursday. Ruffy's here alongside me as ever, and delighted that Gordon Smith is also in his usual position. And positions what we'll be talking about on tonight's programme, as well as today's news. Not too far away from kick-off, Israel against Scotland, one that we hope we can win in this Nations League group. It would be a huge bonus if Alex McLeish's team could replicate what you managed to do all those years ago, Ruffy, with Kenny Dalglish scoring the winner against Israel.
Yeah, I don't think it matters who you play now. I think any away game is going to be a hard shift, whoever you come up against. If you're organised and you get a wee rub of the green, you know, there's a chance we could win this one. I think in the evidence, the second half against Albania, the boys will go there with a lot of confidence. And I think we'll just nick it. I don't think we'll win it. We'll run away winners. I think it'll be a hard graft. But I think at the end of the day, we might just win by the odd goal.
Do you have that same confidence, Gordon?
Yeah, I think so. I think that definitely saw a good improvement in the Albania game from the match we played before that against Belgium. I know that was a friendly. Belgium are very good. Israel, obviously, and Albania are on a different level from them, but I do think we can get the result. I think sometimes as well, Ruffy, actually, sometimes you're more comfortable playing away from home. There's more pressure on you sometimes for the home game, so I think that Scotland can go to Israel and win. I mean, looking at the results, they got beat heavily in a friendly of late. Northern Ireland beat them, but the other previous friendlies to that, previous matches to that, 6 matches, they only ever lost by 1 goal at a time, Israel, so they're not easy to beat. Sort of thing. So I think it will be a tough game, but I think we can win.
Yeah, well, let's hope they continue that vein with just a 1-goal defeat. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi has a look at the match.
Alex McLeish's Scotland side take on Israel in their second UEFA Nations League match of the campaign at 7:45 this evening. McLeish leads his side into the second match after winning their first 2-0 over Albania, with the boss likely to name a very similar starting 11 tonight. An own goal and a Stephen Naismith header gave the Scots the perfect start to their campaign. Lee Griffiths has pulled out to focus on his fitness, and Ryan Fraser has dropped out through injury. Opponents Israel are 94th in the world rankings, 55 places behind Scotland. Andy Herzog's appointment as head coach in August was met with huge controversy. The former Austrian international famously denied Israel a playoff place for the 2002 World Cup after he scored a last-minute goal. Israel lost their opening Nations League match 1-0 to Albania and have lost their last 4 games in a row. However, they are known for being hard to beat at home, and they possess the Red Bull Salzburg forward Monas Dabur, who scored a brace against Celtic last week. Scotland have played in Israel twice, both times winning 1-0. Kenny Dalglish scored the winner in 1981, with Paul McStay scoring the only goal in 1986. Big boots for the players to fill tonight then.
Yeah, absolutely great images there, and Ruffy, you were there in that picture. Bring back happy memories.
Yeah, it does. They were quite a good side then. You know, we went there, they were up against it for a lot of the game. The last memory I remember in that game was there was an actual sandstorm during the game, and it was raining, and it was actually sand that was coming out of the air rather than raindrops.
Wow, there you are. He just pulls a nugget out from nowhere there. There was a sandstorm in the game. Absolutely magnificent. Of course, listen, we're not too far away from finding out the team, but I think it will be, as Gabriel alluded to, along similar lines. Of course, trying to accommodate James Forrest, who's in red hot form, and I think such as our country's need, if you're on red hot form and you've scored 4 goals, you're surely in there, and hopefully Naismith can back up what he did against Albania.
I think you're right, Peter. I think what happens with putting Forrest in there, the difficulty is if you go with a back 3 and it becomes a back 5, then you're thinking, right, where do you play him? I think I would actually I would put him in there and give him a free role. Because I just think that is a good line-up, the way it's been put there together. I think that just give Forrest, but allow him to move about, even from the wing position. Let him come inside so O'Donnell can go past him. Just get Forrest on the ball. I think Naismith has to play, even if Griffiths had been there. I think there was it was a good case for saying it was the right decision to play Naismith in the last game. he proved why he should be in the team. And I think even if Griffiths had been there, I think Naismith would have started the match.
Well, the strange thing about it is Kevin Miller has mentioned, quite critical of Lee Griffiths on the basis that he said, listen, you can't, I've put it down as pick and mix. You can't pick and choose, pick and mix, select what games you want to play in, Ruffy. It just doesn't work that way.
No, I mean, we've debated this round and round, that we all have different views on it. My view was if it was just a fitness thing, and I think Barry touched on it last night, you can get your fitness, go away with the team, do extra training in the afternoon. You don't have to get extra training here, you could have got extra training there, and then as the week went on, or the days went on, you can just get double sessions. So I just can't get my head around that, and there's too many other things leading up to after the last game with Naismith. There was too much being said about in the papers, I'm number one and all that stuff that goes on, and this is just my opinion. A lot of people are saying, no, he's doing the right thing. I just think he's just...
It'll be interesting to see, Ruffy, how much training he's actually is doing with Celtic while this international break's on. Because quite a lot of the times, Peter, you find is that they get a rest period. The players get more holiday time during the international break.
To be honest with you, has it not turned... I mean, I cannot believe it myself, and I'm guilty of it because of the nature of this programme with all of us here, but it's turned into a sideshow that right now we should look at it and say, right, you don't want to play... Fine. Let's move on. And if somebody in here emerges and scores goals, great. Let's continue in that vein.
Absolutely, but it's because he's the number one striker in Scotland. His position went because Naismith got in there and did a great job. Alec McLeish did the right thing to pick Naismith. He fitted in a bit better in terms of the general play than Griffiths does. Griffiths is more of a striker, whereas Naismith can fit in from midfield too and link up and all that. So it was the right decision on the night. But Griffiths is the number one striker, and that's why, at the end of the day, we want him there, because we want to say if it's not quite working out and we need to put somebody on the field that can maybe get us a goal, Lee Griffiths is the ideal man, isn't he?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm not knocking the boy's qualities when he's playing, but he's not getting the regular starts that he wants under Brendan Rodgers. And that is not just down to the fact that Brendan Rodgers has other options. It's down to the fact that Brendan Rodgers is frustrated with him because he picks up injuries, his preparation's not good, his lifestyle is not good, because the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm quoting press conferences where the manager has highlighted that over a number of months.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're saying, but he then does have options, whereas Scotland, we don't have many.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why this has managed to...
become a big issue.
And also become a big issue that's been rolled out over the last week or so, if not more. So
yeah, I'm just hoping that... I think Alec and the rest of the squad and anybody that said something today sort of distanced the Lee Griffiths thing, because if that could have overtaken this game tonight, you know how that happens. So I think they've been good. They've said a lot of good things, but I think deep down, if you got the real honest and the light of day of what's going on within the camp, I don't think they'll be very happy about it at all.
No, OK, let's keep our fingers crossed that we're talking tomorrow night on the programme about all that's good from the game against Israel and the players that do want to play for Scotland. OK, just on that point, I always like when there's a Scotland match going around, when domestic issues don't come to the forefront, I always like to see if we've changed our mind from time to time, guys, on our all-time Scotland 11. Mine's is, I hold my hands up, so there's a slight imbalance in my all-time 11. I've changed it from time to time, and your selections have worried me a bit because I couldn't leave out Jim Baxter. I had to have Dave Mackay in it. I've got to have Billy Bremner. Souness is a shoe-in. Jimmy Johnson is a genius. And then I'm looking, I'm saying to myself, well, I can't leave out McGrain and Jardine, and I can't leave out a guy who's won 3 European Cups. I'd need to be insane to do that.
But he's got Baxter. He's got Baxter playing left winger. I don't.
Well, I know.
I don't think you can play him there.
But do you want me to tell you something? I've got him out there. Yeah. But what I would say to you is he was that good that he could actually play in the front of the diamond.
It was. I know what you're saying, Peter. It was very hard. You know why? Because almost you're looking at a system right away to put people in. But another system, you might have played different players. But you're also looking at, there was two choices for a lot of positions as well.
Yeah.
It was difficult to choose between one or another. Some of them were quite simple, But you're right about the midfield, it was hard.
Yeah, I mean, they could easily have done that. Bremner could have gone further forward and Baxter just rolls in there. But listen, I just had to get them in. Yours has got a bit of balance about it. Both of you guys have got a good bit of balance about it. And of course, I'm angry with myself because I just, for me, one of my favourite players as a boy growing up, and I just cannot leave him out of any great team, and I must have forgotten all about it, is John Robertson. He's in your side, Gordon.
Yeah, I played against him a few times and had a lot of admiration for him. I think that was my midfield, you know, Baxter and Souness were top class, but there was other players, you say, Archie Gemo and all that. Jimmy Johnson was competing, obviously, with Wally Henderson for that position. Robertson with Davy Cooper even, but John Robertson, you know, a European Cup winner as well, did a fantastic job twice, and played against him. And I remember, you know, just even players, the manager having said one day we lost a goal at Brighton and Robertson caused it, and they said we didn't know what he was going to do, we couldn't stop him. That's what they said. There was about 3 players around him, because you could go in either right foot or left foot.
It was magic.
If hitting a great ball, you know.
Yeah, what was he like, Ruffy, to watch?
Yeah, he was the original, didn't like training, you know, he liked the odd cigarette here and there, you know, and he was pretty laid back, quiet, you know, but once he got on the park, he was a different person altogether.
You said he didn't like training and the odd cigarette. What were his bad points?
No, I'm just saying that's what he was. That was just the mentality that was him, you know, but every manager that got him knew how to deal with him. That was a sign of a good manager.
Yeah, you had him in. You've got him in yours.
Yeah, I definitely have, and it's a sort of a year thing. Obviously, with me, obviously, it's players that I played with and saw as well. You know, for me at the back, McLeish and Miller was a partnership, not only at club level but country as well.
Yeah.
You know, I could have put Hansen in there quite easily. McGrain and Jardine speaks for itself. Jimmy Johnson just coming to the end of his career when I was playing. Souness played with, Baxter saw the clips of, and John, as I said, played with. Law speaks for itself everywhere he went, and Kenny Dalglish. But there's in all our teams, the thing that I've noticed most is, what do you think it is?
A lot of midfielders.
Yeah.
Andy Gorham's in goals, not you.
No.
Sorry, Ruffy.
In our three teams,
there's no Scots home based.
No, we have not picked anybody that played after the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nobody in an age after most of these players that we have even thought about putting on the side.
And can I tell you something? I don't think if we got 9 people around this table, 10 people, 11 people, journalists, former footballers of that generation, the 90s, I don't think they could put up a good case for getting someone in.
Not ahead of the people we've put in, I don't think, no. I think there'd be names that would come up, James McFadden and obviously
McAllister,
Alan McCoy, McAllister, Mo Johnson, McCall, Paul Lambert, yeah, there's Colin Henry.
Yeah.
You know, there are a number of players whose names came to my mind, but I was choosing, having seen all these players over the years, I mean, somebody even older than us might have come up with other names too, from a generation before us, who were great players, you know what I mean? So you're looking at, from the time you start playing, right through to all the players you've watched, and I chose my team basically on right from then right to now, and couldn't find anybody better.
Do you know what would be a good thing that we could do? We might do it, you know, on the programme at one point, is pick a greatest Scotland 11 from the 90s onwards.
Yeah.
Which might actually be interesting to see what we come up with. Okay, the reason why I put that in is probably because it's the only it's the only chance where we can actually get to talk something positive, because the rest of this is all negativity. The Scottish Football Hall of Fame. Ruffy, I have to say, you offered your opinion, which, again, I disagreed with, but there are more and more people seem to be gathering pace in your camp about Paul Gascoigne. The one member of the SFA board says that he will not attend the dinner next week, where Gascoigne will be in the Hall of Fame. He believes Gascoigne's induction in is inappropriate from a moral perspective. And the recent history of misdemeanours, background of offences, it wouldn't sit well with my social consciousness, says this board member. And as it stands at this time, there are no plans to review Gascoigne's nomination. So this is clearly a board member who thinks, okay, you know, I look at his history, certain things that he's been, you know, alleged to have been involved in, and I don't want to be there. Now, the only thing that I would counter that with is and I've said this at many a panel meeting, is if we are starting to exclude footballers or managers for the contribution to the Scottish game on how they conducted their life, there's quite a number of them are not going to make it in there.
Yeah.
If that's the criteria.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, that I think that I can fully understand somebody making that decision, and I think that you're entitled to do that, basically. So you're entitled to go along it because you recognise Gazza as a fantastic player in terms of what he did in the game, in terms of memories of him as a player, but in terms of things that were allegedly happened off the field, I can fully understand that somebody might feel that way. So I don't have a problem.
I have no problem with that, and I think from the point of the SFA board member, it's a strong stance. It's a stance that I think we can all admire.
Yes.
But and it's not even a defence, it is throwing out my observation that I have on a number of occasions, Ruffy. There are a number of people that you could question some of their conduct who are in that Hall of Fame. I don't want to go through them individually, but it's something you look at and you think, is that what you do? Is Gordon Strachan said to me, don't put footballers up on a pedestal as role models?
Well, my decision in being against Paul Gascoigne, being in it, had nothing to do with moral values or anything like that. I just thought he was here for 3 years. He was a wonderful player. Can't take that away from him. I just thought there were other players who have represented Scotland and Scottish football who should have been in before him. And the one person...
You mean there's a small contribution to Scottish football?
No, I just think, a small contribution. And the person I quoted, and funnily enough, was Barry Ferguson, who isn't in it. He's the captain of Rangers. He's played in European football. He's played for his country. Won many times as Barry? 46?
47,
something like that, 47. In my judging, I would think Barry Ferguson should get in before Paul Gascoigne. Basically on that.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, a lot of people would look at it and say, I mean, I could see people throwing things at the television right now, Ruffy, and saying, wait a minute, he's absolutely, Barry, his greatest regret, but they would view it as he disgraced himself while representing his country.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. I think, you look at people, I mean, there's modern day fans now saying Scott Brown should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the only few captains who can say he's won 7 titles.
Yeah.
You
take somebody like Paul Lambert, who you mentioned before as well. Many Scottish players have won the Champions League outside the country. They've left Scotland and won it and been a Champions League winner. Yeah. So there's little things like that just bring home that a lot of people have got. There's a number of reasons why there are people who should be in contention.
Yeah. Okay. I
was probably just a wee bit miffed because Terry Butcher got in before me.
I can recall 1,000,001 meetings on it, but I think you're looking overall and you're trying to take into consideration the qualities of the player, his standing in the game at that time, and what he contributed to the game in Scottish football. I
hope somebody comes out and does something about that, because that could spoil the whole night.
In what way?
Well, the Hall of Fame, if this drags on, the reason that for Paul Gascoigne and whoever's at the do, these things generally grow arms and legs. So somebody should come out with a statement and say, look, just what you said there, that this is the reasons he's getting it.
Yeah, well, we'll wait to see if that actually emerges. Sticking with the SFA, they're sticking by plastic pitches. Now, this is off the back of Holland, where quite simply, I think there was a real desire from a number of players, managers, coaches all across it to get rid of plastic pitches at the top flight. PSV, Ajax and Feyenoord give about 10% of the revenue to help the smaller clubs in the Eredivisie to rip up the plastic pitches. It's not going to happen in Scotland.
I'm all in favour of grass. I think grass is best by all accounts that I've seen. But in terms of some of the pitches, the disgraceful situation, how bad they are, I know even from my day playing, I look back now and I think some of them, I'd rather played in plastic surfaces because they're a lot better than they used to be. They're a very, very high standard. I go and watch kids' football and I'll tell you something, the times... The kids, there's hundreds and hundreds of kids, game after game getting played, say something like Tory Glen every Sunday. And now, if that was grass, it would be a state. The kids wouldn't be able to play in it. Now, at the highest level, maybe, if the money gets spent, let's see grass at the highest level if we get good grass pitches.
But to be honest with you, Gordon, at the highest level, we're only talking about 12 clubs here. And I think there has to be a stance to say, you know, until artificial pitches can 100% move on, I don't think it will move on to the level unless it's some kind of hybrid.
Yeah.
But I think we should make a stance and say it's a top game. Let's look at the lunacy that we've got involved in over the last, 6 months. Some of the decisions, some of the things that have gone on in our game, it's laughable.
Yeah, but I still think at the top, even at the top level, that some of the grass, the artificial surface pitches are better than what some of the grass ones have been. Some of the grass ones have been awful, and I know for a fact, and people would confirm this, that see when through the winter, if you have to put your undersaw heating on, it destroys the grass as well, and the pitch is generally destroyed for the rest of the season if you've had to have the heating on in order to have games played on the pitch. Then you get a pitch that's hardly got any grass on it. We've seen over the last few years terrible pitches.
But I think the strides forward. I can remember. I know what you're talking about. I mean, Kilmarnock used to have a heating system that made a noise that annoyed the neighbours.
Yeah.
Motherwell had a heating pitch that actually ripped up the far side of the park.
I think Gordon does make a point, but there are certain clubs who have improved their park enormously. Yeah. I mean, Motherwell's a perfect example. Motherwell was one of the ones I think you're talking about. Yeah. But they've put money into the place, and it looks wonderful. I mean, even our ground at Partick Thistle is just like a bowling green.
Yeah. If they can do that, I would be for that. I'd be for grass if you can do it, if you can improve it.
Yeah, Firhill's looking great as well. Okay, just one thing to finish. Jordan Jones, obviously, Twitter's a great way, an immediate way to get back when you've been accused of diving and you've had to take the 2-match ban. His tweet, basically the Kilmarnock winger has mentioned that he's looking for consistency in decisions. He's looked at and he's highlighted Aaron Taylor-Sinclair going down to earn a penalty against Kilmarnock. This is a Motherwell fullback. Also, he's highlighted Alan McGregor escaping action for his kick at Christopher Ayer. And he's highlighted Connor Golson being booked in the same game. Possible dive from Ryan Christie as well. So he wants consistency. Now, for me, people make mistakes. Even the referee by the Dundee fans has been called into question because of his, apparently his father played for Kilmarnock, allegiances that they were trying to...
His father was a teammate of mine at Kilmarnock.
They're trying to discredit the referee, which the Dundee supporters, and I say this is a small group of them, they don't represent, I think, sane-minded people thinking about the referee who is, as fair a referee as you could possibly wish for in Stephen McLean.
Totally.
He's blown it.
Yeah.
He was duped. But it was the incident is the player that duped. It was the player that dived.
Yeah.
Never mind. We live in a country now. It's whataboutery.
Yeah.
What about this? What about that? Yeah. Don't deal with the issue.
He's right in one respect for consistency of decisions. I see a lot of the ones that are wrongly decided upon. Right. I have seen that. But by the same token, he's not the one that should be coming out and saying this. He's the one that's now accused. We'll try and avoid the word diving because that's what but that's what happened here. He was not touched at all. There could be something that could be disputed of whether there was contact or not. He was not touched. He's had a bit of a reputation for it already. He should be quiet and just accept the fact he deserves a 2-game ban. I felt this had to be brought in. The retrospective punishment, and I think more people should be punished when we actually can determine that these people have acted in an unfair manner.
Ruffy, it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. I don't know if Gordon would agree with me. You've already seen my stand on it. At the beginning of the season, I just put it down in black and white. If you're caught diving, you get a 6-game ban. Yeah. And I think the present-day footballer, if he's sensible enough to say, if I dive, I'm going to be out of the game for six games.
Yeah, well, if Ruffy gets his way, moves on from being a Thistle director onto the SFA board, some players in Scottish football will be able to watch entire box sets as they're sitting in the house, missing out on half the season. Anyway, on that note, thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Gordon Smith. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.
I think be open about your experiences. I think it's okay to talk about your experiences. You're not any less of a citizen if you if you talk about your experiences, I think about myself. I hated talking about race. I hated talking about my faith, partly because I'm just a Glasgow boy like anybody else. I don't see myself as that identikit Muslim or an identikit Asian background. I see myself as a West of Scotland boy. So I didn't like talking about race or religion because it was in some ways highlighting my own difference. But you get to a certain point where you find the confidence to speak about these things. I've now got the confidence to speak about these things because I think I'm in mainstream politics now. I don't need to worry about being pigeonholed or labelled as something that I don't want to be labelled as. So my advice to young people would be confident in yourself, be confident in your identity, be proud of your identity. If you experience something, talk about it. If something goes too far, report it and share your experience with others. Because only if you share your experience with others, you'll learn from other people's experiences and hopefully help make a change in our communities.